Hello, darlings. You've all heard of Marilyn Monroe.
Welcome back, darlings. I'm TV host, entertainment journalist, Cognac Wellerlane, and I have two fabulous guests today. They are both from Poetica Musica, and their names are Eleanor Valkenburg. She is the artistic director and soprano, and I'm also talking to cellist Eugene Moye. Welcome to Cognac's Corner and welcome to my pink kitchen. As you can see behind me, I'm doing this from my pink kitchen. I'm very excited about talking to both of you. Now, tell my audience, Eleanor, tell my audience, how was Poetica Musica established?
It was actually established about 25 years ago. At the time, I was working for Friends of the Arts, which was a group that was based in Planting Fields, which unfortunately doesn't exist anymore. And at that time, I met a whole lot of musicians. And some of them asked me to perform with them at the Library of Congress. And we enjoyed ourselves so much that we decided to form a group. And we ended up getting a residency first at the Heckscher Museum in Huntington, and then we moved to Old Westbury Gardens. And that's how the group started.
So that's your home base, the Old Westbury Gardens. That's where you perform. But I understand that you do travel, all of you travel.
Yes.
To all over the world.
Yes. Poetica Musica has been in roughly 60 countries around the world.
Wow, 60
Right.
countries, to
Yeah.
all the patrons that love classical music.
And to a lot of people in rural areas and very primitive countries that are listening to it for the first time.
Wow, that's amazing. That's truly, truly amazing. Now, tell us about the world-renowned artists that perform at Poetica Musica. Of course, cellist Eugene Moye, who's sitting right next to you. But how many artists and musicians are involved with Poetica Musica?
Well, there's a core membership. Those are the people that have been playing a long, long time together, and we've been playing as a team. And that core membership is about 4 musicians. It composes of a guitarist or in fader, several pianists actually, Natasha Mitrovic, who's actually based in Serbia, and Haik Arsenian, who's based in New York, and Eugene, of course, and am I leaving anybody out? Molly Murkowski, pianist. And we basically as a group sometimes decide the repertoire and decide what the season would be like. So it's not, I'm the artistic director, but we are a team, we work together.
You are a team and you all work together. And you have various concerts throughout the year. What determines what type of concerts you decide you think that patrons of the arts would like? Are there any, is there some kind of like development about this, or how do you come up with the different concerts that you do throughout the year?
Why don't you answer that one?
That's a good question for you.
Yeah.
We, at least in my experience, we do what we like. We do what we like to do. So Ellie will say, I have a concert and we're going to do maybe a piano trio or even a quartet lately, or even a solo concert. And then she leaves it to the artists. And I have always done what I would like to do.
The people that I work with, the people we work with, are very, very talented and very, very creative. So
I know. I went to your last concert. I was totally blown away by Hayek's performance. First of all, I love Chopin. I absolutely adore Chopin. And when he was playing some of that music on the piano, it was so beautiful. I mean, just to sit there and listen to the music, his performance was amazing.
He is a
So
beautiful pianist.
he really is. Now, where is Hayek from originally? He's not American.
No, he's from Armenia.
Armenia, exactly.
He's actually there now. Unfortunately, he had a family emergency.
I know, I heard. I'm so sorry to hear that. I really am. Anything like that's so heartbreaking, and when you lose a family member. Now, Eleanor, I want to ask you, where did this love of music come from with you?
I think for most musicians, most of us start very early, you know, and are exposed to it in some way, either in school. Many musicians come from musical dynasties where their parents were musicians and they heard it from, you know, pregnancy on.
It's
And
like in their DNA.
it is. I believe that it is in your DNA.
It's like in their DNA. Now, where did you study, Eleanor? Did you study at various schools and academies?
Yes. I studied, well, originally I went to High School of Music and Art in the city because I'm New Yorker originally. And then I went to Stony Brook, which has a very, very good music department. And then I got my master's at the University of Michigan, which has a great opera department and a great voice department. And then I got my professional certificate at the Mozarteum in Austria.
Wow, in Austria. Now, you performed yourself all over the world, I would think. Am I right about that?
Yes, that's true.
And you are a soprano.
Yes, I am.
What is your favorite opera?
Oh, that's a hard question.
Yeah, I know.
I really love many, many operas.
I can imagine. You know, my grandmother, I could tell you a brief little story about my grandmother. My grandmother came to this country right after the earthquake in the 20th century, 1908. So it was a huge earthquake in Sicily, and she came to this country right after that. But before that, her mother was a servant. Her mother used to serve these very wealthy people in Sicily. They had a villa and they were very wealthy. And what happened was the lady of the house, the wife, she fell in love with my grandmother, and because they had no children. So my great grandmother, she passed away. She died. So they took my grandmother in. She had a sister, but the sister went to live in the orphanage. But this lady liked my grandmother, so she used to take my grandmother to all the operas. She used to take her to Rome, and she used to take her to Paris, and she used to take her all over to all these fabulous operas. And she educated my grandmother. This was before the earthquake. And my grandmother said she had seen every single opera, but her favorite opera was Madame Butterfly, because it was such a heartbreaking opera. You know, it was just, she told me that was her favorite opera. And I'm sure you yourself, did you ever sing with this opera, Madame Butterfly?
No, I'm not that kind of singer. You know,
I see.
With sopranos, there are different types of sopranos. There's lighter voices, there are heavier voices, there are dramatic voices. And so really, I'm a Mozart type of soprano.
I see. I see.
But
I would think that Madame Butterfly is very dramatic. Am I correct in assuming that?
Yes.
It is very dramatic.
Darker and more dramatic voices than I have.
Wow. So now, can you tell my audience what your most exciting concert was at Poetica Musica? Was there anything that was the most exciting thing you've ever done?
One of the most exciting things that I ever did personally was we performed in Tajikistan, And
Where is that, Tajikistan?
Tajikistan is neighboring to Afghanistan.
Okay.
And we were actually on this was exciting, but maybe not in the way that you think. We went to a concert on the Afghan border, and we sang there, and it was a very successful concert, and it was lovely, and the people were just wonderful, and they appreciated us very much. But on the way back, on the Afghan border, the car broke down.
Oh,
So we said, maybe, you know, and it was about 11 o'clock at night, and we said, maybe we should call a tow truck. And they said, we don't have tow trucks in Tajikistan. So we're going to have to wait it out on the curve of this highway. And we were waiting there playing cards, and all of these cars were coming by with people that looked like Taliban with machetes.
oh my God, I would be freaking out right now.
This is the end.
Were you terrified? Were you really terrified? You sounds like you were.
I was, but actually I was with a friend of mine who was working for a not-for-profit, and he said, don't worry, I work with these people, they're really nice. And they would all stop, and they would all look in the hood of the car to see if they could do anything, which they couldn't. And they said, look, it's getting dark. People are going to come down from the villages, and they're going to invite you to spend the night in the village overnight. And sure enough, people started coming down and saying, well, if you don't get the car started, you know, you can stay with us in the village. And then it turned out that we were able to get another car from Dushanbe, which is the capital of Tajikistan, and get back. But it was a U.S. embassy. It was a tour for the U.S. embassy. So we had American flags all over the car on the border of Afghanistan, American license plate, diplomatic license plate, and I thought, we're dead. This is the end of us.
You're scared, yeah. What about you, Eugene? Were you involved with this incident?
I haven't really traveled with the group in time. I've been really just here.
So you're local, you're a local cellist. Now tell my audience, why did you, tell us how you became a cellist. Tell us the story.
I came as part of I was brought up in Greenwich. We were poor people in Greenwich. And so Greenwich had a great, at least at that time, had a great musical program. And so all third graders were exposed to older people in the system to different instruments. And then all third graders could play an instrument. So my mother liked the sound of the cello.
Oh, so your mother chose it.
Oh, so your mother,
exactly.
She encouraged it.
Well, no, she just said, I like the sound of the cello. And
I
so
see.
I didn't care. I was really into other things. It was just part of the school system. It wasn't a big deal. So I took the cello. Also the cello, you didn't have to rent it. The cello was free. And that was a thing for us. And so I started to do it, you know, in school, and then went to a private teacher, and then really liked it, and then everything else sort of just fell into place.
It started the ball rolling. Now, how old were you when this happened?
8.
8 years old.
I was old, 8.
You were old. So
Yeah.
do you have any musical family history? I mean, do you have anybody in your family? No,
Zero.
not at all. Wow. Now, so do you?
In my experience with the, you know, thousands of musicians, actually, it's not a hereditary thing.
It's not.
No,
Well, you don't know that. You don't know that because maybe way back.
My experience, you know, my
Yeah.
musicians having, in fact, there seems to be an adverse effect actually a lot of times to having, you know, musical people in the family.
Why is that? Why do you believe that's so?
I think that, you know, it's very different for everybody. You know, it's like if you know dancers. Dancers are crazy people. They love to dance, or marathon runners for that matter. And it's one of those things that it goes across all nationalities, and that there's nothing in particular except that there's something that you like. So I've always been lucky, and also it's different. I think there are a lot of people I work with that don't have the same feeling about it, but I've always been very tied to, from the time I was a little boy, that I really liked to play cello, you know, and I like the feeling that comes over me in music. And, you know, I think that's in varying degrees.
It's
I know a lot
beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
But then, of course, when you're in show business and you have parents that are in show business, whether it's they're musicians or actors or performers, you always have a feeling that you have to like measure up to your parents. I mean, you always hear that story too, like
that's exactly
like Elizabeth Taylor. I mean, she was so stunningly beautiful.
Yeah.
Did she ever have any children that could ever be as beautiful as her or as talented as her?
Actually, she did, because I actually met at one time her daughter, who lives actually in upstate New York, and she's an artist. She's a visual artist, and she is as beautiful
as Elizabeth Taylor. Yeah, she was. Well, you know that she was always one of my favorites out of all the movie stars from back in the day. I always thought Elizabeth Taylor was stunning. You know, just stunning. So let's get on with some more interesting questions. Now, you're getting ready. Well, before I get into that, you tell me, I asked her about what her most exciting concert was. What was your most exciting concert, Eugene?
in my life.
Yes.
Well, first of all, I've been all over, so I've done all kinds of things. So yeah, I am very unusual in that way. In lots of ways I'm unusual, but one of the ways is that I was very big in the studio business. You know, I came into the studio sort of business in the heyday of it. In fact, I'm playing, there's a very famous band leader, the man that ran the Tonys for 40 years, and he died recently. And I'll be
the Tony Awards. The Tony Awards.
That's right.
Okay.
And he did soap operas and all kinds of recording. He had a big band. I mean, really, really big guy. His name is Elliot Lawrence, and he died recently. And I will be opening his memorial service. And so the memorial service is going to have big bands and all this stuff.
So this hasn't happened yet? This hasn't happened yet?
On Sunday.
Oh, and this Sunday.
Or a week from Sunday.
Okay.
And so when I think about it, it's very unusual. I don't really know anyone else, but I think my most exciting time was playing the birthday concert for Michael Jackson in Madison Square Garden.
Oh, wow.
Oh my God, you did that?
I did that.
Oh my God.
We were in the orchestra, and that was a big deal for me.
I would think so. Playing at Madison Square Garden, no less Mr. Michael Jackson himself, who
Oh, yeah, it was amazing.
I mean, the man was amazing. The man was a genius.
He was, and to experience that, you know, there are certainly classical performers that have that, you know, effect on an audience, but this is something that was really, you know, he's a crazy, strange person, but
eccentric. Yeah, absolutely.
Happened on stage that was really magic. You know, it just, you know, it like.
Well, don't they always say the most eccentric people are the most talented? Don't they always say that?
I don't know if that's true, but it seems, it might seem that way. But anyway, it's like Tony Bennett. Tony Bennett is another person. You see him, you talk to him, he's a very sweet man. But something happens to this man when he gets out on stage. And it's true of artists.
Yeah.
But the other thing, for me personally, one of the big things was when I was young, I had a scholarship, and it had me going up to Chautauqua at a young age and playing in the amphitheater there. And so they had, I think, a set like 10,000 or something. And so a big sort of moment was they actually allowed me. I was always interested in talking in the concerts. And so so I would go up there and play with the orchestra, and then a couple of nights later play a recital. And be able to talk about the music and and all this. So that for me personally was like, it was a big deal. My parents would come up. I was very young, and I had breakfast with Margaret Mitchell and all these famous people staying at the.
So you really have met what about you, Eleanor? Have you met quite a few celebrities too? I mean,
yeah, most of my the people that I've met that were celebrities were sort of diplomatic celebrities. So I've met, kings and queens of Norway and kings and queens of Denmark. And
well, that's who I would think, that because they're so cultured in learning the arts, that, they have an extreme appreciation for beautiful music and classical music. So that makes sense. Now, let me ask you something, Eugene. Did you get to meet Michael Jackson personally? Did you ever shake his hand?
He doesn't let people get close to him. So for
He
instance,
didn't like people because he's passed, but
no, he wouldn't let people get close to him. So
okay.
like when we recorded, we did a big record of his, and so he took over the whole studio for like 3 weeks, and he had like partitions up so no one could see him. So there was a curtain over the control room. Usually you can see into the control room, but you never saw him. You only heard his voice. And that,
wow.
He was very, very shy. And
I know. My cousin she's a musical engineer, and she works for Atlantic Records, and she's told me stories about Michael Jackson. She has told me stories about him. But so now I want to ask you guys, you're getting ready to do a fabulous concert at the old Westbury Gardens. Tell my audience about that. Are you involved in that, Eugene, as well as Eleanor? Tell us about this concert that's coming up.
Yeah, it's an ensemble concert. So it will consist of violin, cello, piano, and singer. And normally, most of our concerts are ensemble concerts rather than solo concerts. It's kind of rare that we do solo concerts. But this concert will be lovely because it's another mostly French concert.
I love that.
Ravel, in this case, and a wonderful trio called the Four Seasons by Piazzolla. And Piazzolla is an Argentinian composer. However, he spent a lot of time in France, studying in France. And so we include him in this concert because he's been influenced very much by the French as well. So it's a very interesting concert because it's very varied. One of the pieces is for solo violin and piano. Another piece is for solo cello and piano. And then a group of songs, piano and voice, and then trio. So
sounds beautiful. It really, really sounds beautiful. I'm sure you're very excited. Tell my audience the date of this concert.
It's November 6th. It's coming up.
And when does it start? Like, what time will it be starting?
It starts at 8 o'clock. And our concerts now are somewhat modified because when we did the concerts originally, and hopefully we will go back to it, it's an entire evening. And what happens is normally, not for this concert, normally you come in, you enter the gardens, Old Westbury Gardens, and if the weather is nice, you get a tour of the gardens, and then, or you get a tour of the house, and then you get, at 7:30, a lecture about the music. So you get a survey of what's being played. So you kind of appreciate the music, the concert, and then the reception, all for the price of one ticket. However, we cannot do that with the COVID restrictions.
Yeah, isn't that a shame?
Yeah, we're doing just the concert only, which is the concert will begin at 8 o'clock. And normally we have an intermission, and we will have no intermission because of COVID restrictions.
I understand.
Yeah.
So this sounds like a wonderful evening. How many concerts do you guys do a year at At the Old Westbury Gardens.
We're artists in residence at Old Westbury Gardens, and we do 4 concerts a year. We might, in 2023, extend it, we hope, because we've been doing very well, even with the pandemic. We've been filling the hall. So we hope to do that. And we've added a new dimension, which we never had before. We did it out of necessity. We added string quartet, thanks to Eugene and his colleagues. And so we want to continue presenting string quartets because the repertoire is wonderful and the venue is just perfect for that.
It is. And this concert that, I believe you said it was November 6th, right? What day is November 6th? This will be your last concert for 2021. Am I correct?
For 2021, that's correct. So
now,
it starts again in April.
Okay, so it starts again in April. I thought that the museum, Old Westbury Gardens, also has like a Christmas concert, but you're not having that this year?
It's not me.
Oh, it's something else.
Yeah, it's another program.
It's another program. Okay. So the Poetica Musica's last concert for this year is on November 6th. And then you resume again in April. Okay.
April, May, June, we have concerts, and then again September.
Do you do the concerts inside in the summer, or do you do them outside?
Well, we're experimenting now because we have the possibility of another venue. What they did is they restored a barn at Old Westbury Gardens.
Oh.
We looked at the barn, and the acoustics of the barn are quite good, and it's quite a comfortable setting. So we want to explore the barn more for concerts. And we did have, I think the string quartet concert will either be in the barn or will be outside. Either way, depending on the weather. And the reason for that is we don't need the piano. We have the piano, of course, in the grand ballroom, in the red ballroom.
And that is a beautiful piano. Tell my audience what kind of piano that is.
Oh, it's a Steinway B. It was actually bought about, I think, 15 or 20 years ago right now, maybe 15 years ago. By certain members of the board of directors and their friends who contributed, and we thank them very much for it.
Where can we go to get more information? What is the website?
You would get onto the Old Westbury Gardens website because they're handling the tickets, and it's www.oldwestburygardens.org. And you are able to purchase tickets online. Well,
you guys are amazing, and I can't wait to come to the concert on November 6th. I want to thank you both for talking to me here at Cognac's Corner magazine. And we are going to sign off. I wish I was there to give you a big pink champagne kiss, but I'll blow it to you. Big champagne kisses. And don't go away yet. I'm going to stop recording, but I want to sign off and tell my audience, thank you for watching Cognac's Corner. We will be back with more celebrity Zoom interviews right here at Cognac's Corner magazine and Cognac's Corner TV. Keep watching, darlings. Pink champagne kisses.
Hello, darlings. You've all heard of Marilyn Monroe. Some of you know Bridget Bardot. Well, now it's time for the Cognac Show. Wearing furs, dazzling diamond jewelry, a girl can't complain. I live the upscale life, dining in the finest restaurants, eating the best caviar for free. And no matter how much I eat cognac, ooh, ooh. I said cognac, ooh, ooh, ooh. This has been a Crybaby Productions, darlings.